Behind the camera, the production leaned on a substantial crew and multi-location shoot. Around 100 cast and crew members worked on the film, with key scenes shot at Amen Estate in Lagos, Nigeria, as well as in Kumasi and Accra, Ghana, in order to capture the story's varied settings. Cinematography was handled by John Njaga Demps, while Valentine Chukwuma led the editing, and composer Tolu Obanro, who had previously scored Battle on Buka Street, and A Tribe Called Judah, returned to blend contemporary Nigerian sounds with a more cinematic orchestral approach for the film's score. As part of the promotional run, Funke Akindele and several cast members released a theme song called Everybody Loves Christmas ahead of the premiere, with a 5-minute music video featuring performers including Falz, Lei Wasabi, D'banj, Patience Ozakwur, and Nancy Isime, among others. The film had a high-profile rollout for the holiday season. It premiered at the Filmhouse Lekki IMAX in Lagos on December 8, 2024, before opening theatrically across Nigeria on December 13, 2024, through Filmon distribution. The red carpet premiere itself became something of an event in Nigerian entertainment media, with top designers such as Mai Atafo and Diola Sago dressing celebrities for the occasion. Commercially, the movie became a genuine box office phenomenon in Nigeria. Reporting at the time described it as having shattered box office records, and later coverage tracked it crossing hundreds of millions of naira within its first couple of weeks in cinemas, eventually being counted among the year's highest-grossing Nigerian releases. That kind of run cemented Funke Akindele's status as one of Nollywood's most bankable stars and directors, building on the commercial success of her earlier films. Critically, the reception was more mixed than the box office numbers might suggest. One review captured this tension well, praising the film's funny moments, nostalgic callbacks, and well-thought-out twists, along with the cast, the acting, and the music, singling out the use of the late Nigerian musician Lagbaja's work as a particular highlight and a reminder of his artistic legacy. But that same review felt the film ultimately became overpacked, with the main plot's artistic choices left too thin and weighed down by too many competing distractions, so that 2 hours of runtime felt closer to 3. The critic also felt there were far too many cameos, with the story often feeling jumbled, as though the film were trying to accomplish too much at once, and described the overall presentation as resembling a cheaply produced soap opera stitched together with a haphazard amount of dialogue that added to the overall messiness. Even so, the reviewer acknowledged Akindele's natural charm, while feeling she was trying to cover too many bases at once, with scenarios that leaned more contrived than genuinely funny, and gave particular credit to Bisola Ayola's lawyer character, Madame Bassi, for lifting the film in her scenes, comparing her presence to a beloved supporting character from a well-known American procedural drama. Everybody Loves Jennifer, engaging movie review narration, what happens when one woman becomes the center of attention, and suddenly, everybody seems to have an opinion about her life. Welcome to Everybody Loves Jennifer, a movie that combines romance, comedy, friendship, misunderstandings, and the complicated reality of relationships. At first glance, the story may seem like a simple romantic comedy, but as the events unfold, we begin to see that Jennifer's journey is about much more than romance. It's about expectations. It's about the pressure that comes when people think they know what's best for you. And most importantly, it's about discovering who truly cares about you when everything around you becomes complicated. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at the most interesting aspects of Everybody Loves Jennifer. The characters, the relationship drama, the unexpected twists, the comedy, and the moments that make this movie so entertaining. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about why Jennifer's story keeps viewers interested from beginning to end. Section 1. At the heart of the story is Jennifer, a woman whose life becomes increasingly complicated as she tries to navigate love, relationships, and the expectations of the people around her. Jennifer is the kind of character that audiences can easily connect with because her problems are not completely unfamiliar. Like many people, she wants happiness. She wants to be loved and understood. But the problem is that the people around her don't always see things from her perspective. And this is where the movie becomes interesting. Jennifer's life is surrounded by people who have their own ideas about what she should do. Some people believe they are helping her. Others may have their own hidden motivations. And sometimes, even the people who genuinely care about her can make decisions that create more problems than solutions. The more Jennifer tries to figure out her situation, the more complicated everything becomes. And that is one of the movie's biggest strengths. Instead of giving Jennifer an easy path to happiness, the story puts her in situations where she has to question the people around her and eventually question herself. Who can she trust? Who really understands her? And when it comes to love, should she listen to the people around her or follow her own heart? These questions become increasingly important as the story develops. Section 2. Love and relationships. One of the most entertaining elements of Everybody Loves Jennifer is the way it explores relationships. The movie shows us that love is rarely as simple as people imagine. Two people can care about each other and still misunderstand one another. Someone can have good intentions and still make the wrong decision. And sometimes, the people who think they are helping can accidentally make a relationship even more complicated. Jennifer finds herself caught in the middle of these complicated emotions. The people around her have expectations, opinions, and sometimes secrets. Everyone seems to know what Jennifer should do, but very few people stop to ask Jennifer what she actually wants. This creates some of the movie's most engaging moments. As viewers, we begin to understand that Jennifer isn't simply trying to find love. She's trying to find the kind of love that allows her to be herself. And that distinction is important, because there is a huge difference between being loved by someone and being truly understood by someone. The movie constantly plays with this idea. There are moments when everything seems to be going perfectly, only for a misunderstanding to change the situation. Then, just when the audience thinks the characters have finally figured things out, another complication appears. This keeps the story moving and gives the movie its emotional energy. Section 3. The people around Jennifer. Another reason the story works is because Jennifer isn't alone. The characters around her add different personalities and perspectives to the story. Some provide comedy, some provide emotional support, some create confusion, and others challenge Jennifer to look at her situation differently. This is where the title Everybody Loves Jennifer becomes particularly interesting. The idea that everybody loves Jennifer sounds positive, but the movie encourages us to ask a deeper question. What does it actually mean to love someone? Is it enough to say you love somebody? Or does real love mean respecting their choices, understanding their feelings, and allowing them to make their own decisions? The people around Jennifer don't always agree with one another. Their different opinions create tension, but they also create some of the funniest and most entertaining situations in the movie. One character may believe they have the perfect solution to Jennifer's problems. Another may completely disagree. Someone else might make a decision that seems harmless at first, but eventually creates an even bigger problem. And before long, Jennifer's personal life becomes something that everyone seems to have an opinion about. This is where the comedy and drama work together. The movie doesn't take every situation too seriously. Instead, it uses humor to make the characters' problems entertaining, while still allowing the audience to recognize the emotional issues underneath. Section 4. The misunderstandings. If there is one thing that keeps the story exciting, it's misunderstanding. The characters don't always have the complete picture. One person knows one side of the story. Another person knows something completely different. And Jennifer is often caught somewhere in between. This creates situations where the audience may understand what is happening before the characters do. And when that happens, the tension becomes even more entertaining. You find yourself thinking, why don't they just talk to each other? But that's exactly what makes these kinds of stories work. People don't always communicate properly. Sometimes pride gets in the way. Sometimes emotions become too strong. And sometimes people make decisions based on assumptions instead of facts. Jennifer's situation shows how quickly a small misunderstanding can become a much bigger problem. The interesting part is watching how the characters react. Some confront the problem directly, others avoid it. Some make the situation worse without realizing it. And eventually, the truth begins to come closer to the surface. This is one of the points where the movie becomes particularly engaging, because the audience starts wondering how everything will eventually be resolved. Will Jennifer finally discover the truth? Will the relationship survive? And most importantly, will the characters finally understand what they have been doing wrong? Section 5. The comedy. One of the things that makes Everybody Loves Jennifer enjoyable is the balance between drama and comedy. The movie understands that even when life becomes complicated, there can still be moments that make us laugh. The comedy often comes from the personalities of the characters and the situations they find themselves in. Sometimes a character takes a situation too seriously. Sometimes someone gives advice that sounds completely ridiculous. And sometimes the characters simply make decisions that leave you wondering what they were thinking. These moments give the audience a chance to relax while the larger story continues developing. The comedy also helps make the characters feel more human. Instead of presenting them as perfect people who always know what to do, the movie shows their mistakes, confusion, and sometimes questionable decisions. And that's something many viewers can relate to. Because in real life, people don't always make perfect decisions. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we misunderstand people. And sometimes we only realize the truth after we've already made things complicated. Jennifer's story uses these experiences to create both humor and emotion. Section 6. The biggest turning point as the story moves forward, the situation surrounding Jennifer reaches a point where things can no longer continue as they were. The characters are forced to confront the consequences of their choices. This is where the movie becomes more than just a light-hearted romantic story. The audience begins to see the emotional consequences of everything that has happened. The misunderstandings have created tension. The relationships have been tested. And Jennifer has been placed in a position where she has to make important decisions about her own future. The biggest lesson here is that sometimes people can become so focused on what they think is best for someone else that they forget to listen to the person themselves. Jennifer's journey forces the characters around her to reconsider their actions. And for Jennifer, this becomes an opportunity to understand herself better. She begins to realize that happiness cannot simply come from satisfying everyone else's expectations. At some point, you have to make decisions for yourself, and that is what makes this part of the story so important. Jennifer's journey isn't only about finding love, it's about finding confidence in her own choices. Section 7. What the movie is really about behind all the comedy and relationship drama, Everybody Loves Jennifer has a deeper message. The movie reminds us that relationships require communication. People cannot expect to understand one another if they refuse to listen. It also shows us that love should not be about controlling another person's decisions. Real care means allowing people to grow, make choices, and learn from their experiences. Jennifer's story also raises an interesting question about the difference between attention and genuine affection. Sometimes, many people can say they love you, but that doesn't necessarily mean they understand you. And sometimes, the person who truly cares about you may not be the loudest person in the room. This is one of the reasons the title is so meaningful. Everybody loves Jennifer. But throughout the story, the real question becomes, who truly understands Jennifer, who respects her, who supports her, and who is simply trying to influence her life for their own reasons? These questions give the story more depth and make the characters' relationships more interesting. Section 8. Why the movie is entertaining. So, why does Everybody Loves Jennifer work as an entertaining movie? First, the characters are easy to follow. Second, the story combines romance, comedy, and drama. Third, the misunderstandings keep the audience curious about what will happen next. But most importantly, the movie is relatable. Many people have experienced situations where friends or family members give advice about their relationships. Many people have also experienced misunderstandings. And almost everyone understands what it's like to want to make the right decision while dealing with pressure from other people. That relatability makes Jennifer's story enjoyable. You may not agree with every decision the characters make, but you can understand why they behave the way they do. And that is what makes the movie worth watching. In the end, Everybody Loves Jennifer is more than a story about romance. It's a story about relationships, communication, trust, and personal choices. Jennifer's journey reminds us that sometimes, the people around us may have good intentions, but that doesn't mean they always know what's best for us. The movie also reminds us that love isn't simply about saying the right words. It's about understanding. It's about respect. And it's about giving someone the freedom to be who they truly are. So if you enjoy movies that mix romance, comedy, drama, and complicated relationships, Everybody Loves Jennifer is definitely a movie worth checking out. But now, I want to hear from you. What was your favorite part of Everybody Loves Jennifer? Which character did you find the most interesting? And do you think Jennifer made the right choices throughout the story? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this movie review, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to BioWood Media, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next movie breakdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.